Welcome back everyone to Mudstomp Solves, a channel where we build cardboard puzzles, 3D puzzles, block builds, and anything else that relates to basically putting one and one together with or without instructions. Today we're having a look at this wooden build. I'm really getting into these after doing the book nook. I'm really excited to try some more different wooden builds, the train and the book nook, I should say. This I referred to previously in a video recently. So it's a mechanical turtle, apparently. Now, I have no idea about this pack. I've literally opened it to clean it up because it was showing some signs of damage. As you might see with the paper, it's discolored. There are actually holes in some of it, so I don't even know how that's going to go, whether I'm going to miss instruction bits or whatever. There are bits over here that I might be able to garner from. I don't know. I am going to give it a go and see how it ends up. Hopefully I can figure it out as I go and not miss anything. It's already started coming apart in some of these pieces falling out, but which is fine. I don't mind. Like, it's, it is what it was. It was a very cheap grab and so forth. There is a bit of sandpaper in there, which I don't know if I'll actually need or not. I didn't use it for the train. I probably won't use it for this. It's produced by the Dongguang, I think it'd be Shinji Yizi Technology Co. I do apologize if I've absolutely butchered that name. It's made in China, so obviously Chinese name, I'm assuming. And I don't speak Chinese, so I'm going to say that I've probably not done the best with that, but I try my best, respectfully so. I'm really excited to try this out, and if it goes well, I'm going to look to get more of these because the train's lovely, but it rolls, but that's about it. This looks like the turtle should move like it's swimming through the water or something. It does label it saying mechanical movement. I did also find, when I was cleaning up, I found these wax pellets, and they look like they've got eggs in them because I had sort of like what looked like almost cobwebs in that. To me, it's like maybe a woodworm or something has nested in the package. So I don't know if these wax plugs are from the wood thing, whatever it is, or if it's some wax I need for the mechanical parts to move easily. So I've bagged them, kept them separate so I can get into it. And yeah, that's basically the gist of it. So I'm going to just work my way through. They say it's 3.5 hours to do. So that's encouraging and not so encouraging, if you catch my drift. Basically because I like to do these things as quick as I can, but at the same time, it might take me a lot longer. So yeah, I'm just having a look here because I've got steps 19 to 39 on this side. That's step 7 to 13. Okay, so yeah, so this was actually, I didn't need to open this up. This is step 1 and so forth. So yeah, they've got them all labeled like these typically are. So you've got like C, 12, 14, and so forth. So I'm assuming these are plates that are A, B, C, D, which is good to know because you know that which order you're roughly working with, or at least you know where to find the bits you need to find, I guess is the way to put it. So I'm going to put D underneath in the hope that I don't have to access that until a bit later. I've grabbed my cutting mat, learnt something from doing my book nook. This is really handy, and I've grabbed the knife from the book nook to help me separate the pieces out. So I'm hoping that all sort of works well in that sense. I'm just having a quick look. Yep, they've got all the typical sort of little connected tabs and that. I think a lot of it's going to break out really easily, to be honest. But yeah, so, oops, sorry, I just flicked my microphone. I hope that wasn't too loud, or I've muted it in post-production. We'll see. Again, I'm working with new sound to try and get better quality sound so that I can produce better videos. So, put my efforts in. All right, let's stop. I'm going to keep talking, but let's stop yabbering on and give this a go. I'm probably going to have a go at the first couple of steps and then switch into time-lapse mode as per usual, and then I'll probably touch base at some point, but let's see how we go. So I want C11 in here. So there's cog C11. I'm seeing a little tab over this side. So I don't know how I'm going to go with separating all of these bits. The train kind of just pushed out easily enough. I'm a bit more worried about these getting broken, so I'm trying to be a little bit more cautious and cutting the connections if I can, basically. So it might be quite a lot of me flipping and pushing with the knife to try and do that. But yeah, anyway. All right, so there's C11. C10 is this piece here. I'm always amazed at the sizing of all this sort of stuff, to be honest. All right, that's got no tab on that end, so it's just this one. That's good. Yeah, it's you sort of. I don't know how to put it. Like the book nook was obviously tiny. I mean, that was completely unexpected on my part. I didn't realize it was going to be that small. The train was obviously a bit bigger. These cogs would suggest to me that this is going to be quite large, like maybe, what would they be, 30 centimeters across, like as big as these plates, A4 sheet of paper, if you will. So around 25 centimeters across or something. It probably says it somewhere on here, actually. Let's have a look. Does it? Doesn't look like it. So yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be quite large, but yeah, who knows, right? So we'll find out. Excuse me, trying to get the knife sorted in my hand so I can cut this a bit easier. They're not hard as such, but I guess I'm just being overly cautious to try and make sure I don't stuff something up. And there's another C11 somewhere. Over here. Okay. Try and find the tab. It's a lot of fun doing all of this, I might add. It's just very cathartic, I think is the word I would use. So let's see, what are we doing? So we put that in there. I might need to get a hammer for some of this. I don't like the idea of using a lot of force, but I remember my fingers getting very sore sometimes. And that goes through there. That is way tight for that. Is that correct? Yeah, it is. Oh, okay, that's going to be difficult to do. Okay, there we go. Got it through. Okay, maybe not as tight as I thought it was going to be, but anyway. And put the cog on. Do they have to match would be another question. It looks like they should. All right. I'm going to guess at this point that's not moving. So unless that's not supposed to move, like that's a part of an arm that works with another cog, I'll do it that way so you can see it a bit better, that's not going to move. So yeah, I don't know how that's all going to go, to be honest. But anyway, there's piece number one and still on step one. So we've got C14 somewhere here as well. 19, a lot of 19, a lot of 3. That's C4, it's a lot of them. Here we go, C14. I always find it interesting too. And look, they're all different sizes. So obviously, like, you know, C10, C14, they're going to be different sizes compared to, let's say, C15. You know, so some things have got more and others have got less. But it's just always interesting sort of thinking, like, you look at some of it and you think, surely that's the same size as the other one. Why do they not just have 2 of them? But I'm going to assume that they're off by like millimeter, like half a millimeter or less. So it's just me that doesn't quite see the sizing difference. C6, C6, where's C8? C8. That looked a lot, thought that was going to be a lot bigger. Definitely misinterpreted that sizing. All right, there we go. And then that goes through top here. And some of these holes are square and some of them are round. So I don't know if there's anything in particular about that, but I'll do my best to line them up if I can. And yeah. All right, there's 2 parts, A1 and A2. And there's a tick, which I guess is just to say that it's done. But yeah, alrighty. Just trying to have a look. Yeah, all right. We're about 10 minutes into videoing, so I'm going to go for a bit of a time lapse, and then I'm going to check back in about a while. I don't know how long the while's going to be, probably halfway through, just to give you an idea of how I'm going and how I'm finding it. But otherwise, enjoy the time lapse, and I'll try to show you, well, as much as I can. So here we go. Alrighty, I thought I'd jump in and just do a little bit of reflection on how we're going so far. To be perfectly frank, I've actually been really enjoying this. It's a lot bigger than the train set, so for starters, that's kind of been interesting. You've probably seen me potentially spending a little bit more time cutting. I'm using the knife from the book nook that I created recently. So yeah, it's helping cut the little tabs in the bits. I don't know if you can see it in the video, just a very slight bit of wood that holds each thing in. But I'm going to get a X-Acto knife soon to do more of this, I think, because it's a little bit difficult and I want a good strong knife. I accidentally snapped the blade once already, so it might not last me too long, hopefully, at least through this project. So yeah, a little bit of reflection on where we're at so far. So I'm up to step 19, which is, I think there's 38 steps in total or something. So I'm basically halfway through the steps, and I think the steps are going to get a little bit more complicated. Having said that, panel B is basically empty, so I've finished that. There's 2 bits left there, but I think they might be spares. Panel C has a few more key parts in it, so they're probably going to come out soon enough. I'm basically working through panel D with the current steps, so that's fairly recent, last little bits, and then A is sort of a couple of big bits that'll come in here and there, I reckon. I will say I have been kind of curious how this is going, because for a large part, some things move and some don't. So that's where I'm a bit confused on how this works. So for instance, this bit here, these 2 bits, trying to do this one-handed, sorry, this bit can move quite a bit, but the parts back here basically don't move. So I think some cogs are for show and some are for action. And when I say action, not that the cogs actually do anything, but the parts around them move. So again, this piece here basically doesn't move. I can move some of it, so oops, sorry. I can twist this bit a bit and things like that, but it's sort of like, do I need to or not? I don't know. Whereas this piece here, for instance, is built so that these bits can move. I can't really do it one-handed, but these 2 big bits here and underneath, they can actually move quite a lot. So it makes me think like this is the core of the turtle and this is the frame for it or something. I could be wrong. These look like flippers, obviously, for the turtle, and they move a lot. So like this bit here, as you can see, it turns very easily and then twists as well. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how much of this is going to be able to move and not move, but it does lend me thinking that there will be a fair amount of movement. I will say so far the holes in the plans haven't held me back yet, so I'm fingers crossed that will continue to be. I think this step here is probably going to be a bit of an issue. I'm going to have to guess a little bit on that, but seeing the pieces here, I might be able to figure it out. Most of the holes have been on the right side of the images, which is where it shows it completed. So yeah, it's not too bad because you see the completed bit, like here, for instance. That's what to do. That's the completed. That's using the completed in the next step. So yeah. Anyway, look, on the whole, it's going quite well. I'm enjoying it. The bigger wood pieces are nice to work with. I will say it's been a little bit more fragile on some bits, which I put down to the age of it. I think this is a very old set that's been sitting around for yonks. Obviously, with the infestation on it, I think that's fairly understandable. So there's been some bits that are fairly frail. There's a bit in here. I can't think. Yeah, on the other side of here, there's like a little cog bit that's like that, but very thin. That broke very easily, but fortunately it wedges between other things, so it wasn't a massive deal, but I am being very careful to not have any more breaks, basically. Plus, I think some of the bits are swollen, so some of these tabs, fitting them through the little cogs is proving to be a bit difficult, so I'm using the edge of the screwdriver, sorry, trying to get focused there, just putting it down on the board and then pushing on the screwdriver with the screwdriver pushing on it tends to make it work. I have shed a little bit of outer layer of wood here and there with a couple of pieces, but yeah, on the whole of it, I don't think it's damaging to the point of being concerning. So anyway, let me jump back into another time lapse and get this finished, and I'll give you some more reflections afterwards and show you what actually can move on the whole thing. Well, and there you have it, folks. I've finally finished this, I'll call it a wooden creation. I got to say, overall, I was actually pretty impressed with a lot of this. It was really nice, despite the age of the piece and therefore the fragility of the wood, as I mentioned before and stuff. It's come together quite nicely for the most part. D, B, and C plates are completely empty. So they've only got like one or two small parts as spares in them. What I will say is rather interesting is the A plate in this case had a piece called A15. And this particular piece is the central backbone of the turtle. And we already have that. This is a spare for that, but it's labeled as a different numbering and it's not mentioned in the instructions at all. So I don't know why you would have a spare for that particular piece when you can't have spares for most of the pieces. The little bits I understand, but then on the other side of things, there were fragile little connections that cap off the piece piles that go on the sticks, the rods basically. There's no spares of those. Those I would have preferred spares of because they break very easily. And in fact, two of them fractured, and the only reason it's still stuck together is because they get wedged between something else. And so that was all right. I will say I do have a little bit of critique for this particular model. One of the things is early on there was a big bunch of gears I put together, and that's ended up being, it does spin and it is part of the mechanism, but for the bulk of it, only one of those gears is actually part of the mechanism. The rest of it does nothing at all. And on that note, just to demonstrate that, so I don't know if I can show this well, but this gear here and this gear in there basically spin, and I have to use the bigger gear to do it because the smaller one doesn't drive the big one enough. They're too tight. So that's one of my critiques. But you can do that and spin it and get the turtle to basically sit upwards or to go back down a bit, quite a bit. That's literally the gist of the mechanism. So I will say, from the perspective of having hundreds of gears, not hundreds, but dozens of cogs, there's only two cogs that are really in use. All the rest of the cogs are literally aesthetic. This whole right side of the turtle underneath does nothing. It just sits there. So those cogs mean nothing. Whoops, lost another piece. I will say again, like for the most part, this is an age set, so I'm not too put off by a few pieces sort of being a bit loose or something like that. It happens. The overall shape of the turtle itself, I think, is really lovely. I think it's a really nice thing. I would have loved to have seen more pieces put into that to make it just fuller and all of that, as opposed to all these cogs underneath that do nothing. I would have preferred much more mechanical thing, like where you can turn it and the turtle effectively goes up and down looking like it's swimming. You can't do that because the arm that the turtle base, or this part under here, I don't know if you can see this, sorry, the part under here that's connected to the turtle and connects to an arm, and the arm connects to the big cog, it collides in that section basically if you keep turning. So you can't get the arm the full way around the cog. So to me, it's like they came up with a great idea and then they didn't measure it out and they didn't realize that it didn't go the whole way around. If that arm was longer and it was mounted better, you could go the whole way around and the turtle would go up and down, I think. So yeah, I think once again, overall, I really like doing these wooden builds. I'm going to keep doing them. I've got more book nooks coming to do. I'm going to try and find some more of these sort of things to do, hopefully ones that are fully mechanical. They're just fun things to do. Like, they're little fun things that they have instructions that are fairly easy to follow, and they're really nice little set pieces and whatnot to set up and put on your shelf or whatever. Yeah, like it's a joy in that sense. Other than that, I think that, yeah, again, this particular set, I'm a little bit disappointed about. And I will say, like, the connections for the flippers, they're a bit loose, unfortunately, on this, probably again because it's aged. If they were originally loose, that would be shocking. But I imagine you could move the flippers in and out as you wanted to. But then again, that could be another piece that could be mechanical if you wanted it to be. And going back to that note, the wax balls that I found, I don't think they're anything, as I said at the start. So yeah, the holes in the map, funnily enough, didn't affect me too badly. Sorry about that. Got interrupted there for a second. Forgot where I was up to, but anyway, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to be looking for more. Yeah, I think that it's going to be an endeavour to find some good ones that I'm really excited about. Put it that way. And if I can find bigger ones too, that would be really cool. This was, I think they labelled it as a 3.5 hour build, and I reckon I probably did it in a couple of hours. I don't think it took me that long. It was very basic sort of stuff for the most part. The train had more complex actions for putting things together, I'd say. The major issue was ramming the pegs in when they were difficult. So, yeah, I think overall it was a win for like $1. So, I'm not complaining too heavily, but I definitely want to find something bigger, more interesting, more amazing. Maybe even getting to the point where I might look at doing one of those like wooden boat builds or something like that. Like a model kit or something. I don't know. So, yeah. Anyway, that's it for me today. So if you're still with me, thank you very much for watching. As per usual, if you want to keep me going, you know what to do, like, subscribe, comment, etc. Otherwise, I am looking, I think, I'm not sure where I'm up to at the moment with all my videos. I'm sort of doing multiple things at once, but given that this is a non-puzzle build, the next video should be a puzzle, and I'm thinking it's going to be another 3,000 or 2,000 piece puzzle. Nice big one. So, yeah, look forward to that, and otherwise, I will catch you in the next one. All right, thanks again. Let's talk out. Bye.